Table Talk. I'm Pastor Frank, and I invite you to pull up a chair to the table and let's talk. One of the greatest privileges that we as Christians have is the opportunity and the invitation to come to God and talk to Him in prayer. But it is a challenge. Martin Luther was famously quoted as saying, "I have so much to do today, I must spend the first 3 hours in prayer." You ever feel like that would be an insurmountable task to pray for 3 hours? I have a couple of books I just want to show you the titles to show you the interest that there is in prayer. This book is called Too Busy Not to Pray. Can we ever find the time to read a book like this? This book is called Lord, Teach Me to Pray in 28 Days. Well, that's not a bad goal. How about this one? What do you do when God doesn't answer your prayers? And then finally, this one written by Henry Blackaby is called Experiencing Prayer with Jesus. You know, a prayer is not all that complicated. It's talking to God. It's being yourself. It's being open and honest and recognizing that we have a Father who loves us and who wants to hear from us. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, Jesus has this to say about prayer. Let me read it to you. "And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like the pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask Him." In Matthew chapter 6, Jesus teaches us 3 things as it relates to prayer. The first thing He teaches us is get your heart right with God. We don't pray to make a show for others. We don't stand on the street corner. We don't stand up in the church or synagogue and with hands on chest begin our eloquent oration to God. No, God desires us to pray with humility and with sincerity, to be personal about it. Secondly, Jesus said, when you pray, go into your private room. Some translations say go into your closet. And I've done that. Have you? Have you ever gone into your literal closet? My closet's big enough that I can walk into it. And you can close the door, and there you can have a quiet moment. And that is what Jesus is trying to get at. When we pray, it's nice, it's helpful if we can find a quiet place. This might mean waking up before everybody else does. Or this might mean finding a room in the house or outside of the house that's quiet, where you won't be distracted. It means turning off your phone or putting your phone in another room entirely to get that undistracted time with God. That's a goal. It doesn't always happen that way. You can pray on the go. You can pray walking on the street, riding in your car, sitting in a tractor. You can pray in noisy places, but Jesus said it's helpful to us if we can focus and get this, what we call quiet time with God. And then finally, the third thing that Jesus says is don't pray like the pagans and the hypocrites who babble, going on and on and on with useless words. I have literally been in prayer meetings where someone has stood up and they begin speaking in a way that they don't speak normally or naturally. They might begin praying like this: "O mighty God, we beseech thee with our requests. Heareth thou from thy throne." Since when did they suddenly become a Shakespearean prayer person? No, the goal is just be yourself, speak in your own words. Recognize that the Lord is looking at the heart, not the eloquence or the grammar of your words. And sometimes it's okay to be raw. He can handle it. And so we recognize that prayer is not always the easiest thing to do, but the Lord encourages us and He wants us and He desires us to come with Him with our prayers, our petitions, our requests, our concerns, our adoration, our supplication, our heart. So I don't know that we're going to get up in the morning and spend the first 3 hours of it in prayer. You could try it and write to me and let me know how it goes. But I would encourage you with this. Take 3 minutes today and just pray. Adoration, confession, thanksgiving, supplication. By the time you work through those things, 3 minutes will have gone by quickly. And the goal is to spend time with God. And the goal is to let the time spent with Him change you. Let it open up your heart to the things that God has for you. And listen for His voice. Don't do all the talking. Sometimes it's best to just listen. It's been wisely said by somebody else that we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth that we might listen twice as much as we speak. Well, that's good advice, especially as it comes to prayer. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may the Lord lift up His countenance towards you and give you His peace, His shalom, especially when you pray. Thanks for joining me here on Table Talk.